Hey, this is Simon Scriver. Welcome to another vlog and podcast. Yes, I used the word vlog. Remember vlog? Video blog. So all about fundraising, and we are back spouting off opinions and discussing opinions. And Jesus, aren't you sick of people's opinions? But today I want to talk about, today it's Giving Tuesday. So happy Giving Tuesday. I hope you had a good Movember. Hope you're ready for December and December, and happy Giving Tuesday. I hope you've had a good one so far. So we're going to talk about Giving Tuesday, and I suppose talk about these public campaigns like the 1% Difference campaign and Giving Tuesday, and we've seen stuff come and go in the UK before about trying to get the public to give more and trying to raise that kind of national, about 2%, people give about 2% of their income, but raise that up. Don't worry about your motivations for giving, don't worry about the details, just give more because we're telling you. And you can probably guess I'm not a big fan of Giving Tuesday, but I want to talk a bit about why and kind of explore it. So there's already been some good stuff written about it, especially in the States where they've had it for a few years. There's a guy, Michael Rosen, who blogged about it, and he pointed out quite rightly that there's no evidence that Giving Tuesday actually does anything. And he's got a good blog that I'll link to read. But yeah, is there no evidence that it helps? I'd say there's anecdotal evidence. Maybe it hasn't been around long enough. I think, and I'll talk a bit about it in a minute, but I think it will work, and it probably has worked for a lot of organizations, or some organizations, but not because of the way we necessarily think it works. There's another skeptic called Claire Axelrad. Don't you love these American or Canadian, North American names? Claire Axelrad, and she's got a great fundraising blog. If you don't subscribe to it, then you really should. And she says, let me read it here. She says, I do wonder if Giving Tuesday encourages token one-time transactions or small gifts that might have become larger gifts if solicited another way. Still, there's a lot of pressure to jump on the Giving Tuesday bandwagon. It comes from board members, volunteers, and others who say, gee, I see so-and-so is doing a big splash for Giving Tuesday. What are we going to do? Do North Americans really say gee and big splash? It's good. But she makes a point, and I totally agree with this, that there's Giving Tuesday, it focuses on this day, and for a lot of organizations there's a serious lack of thought on what happens next or what should have happened before. That like the ultimate fundraising is built about relations, and every good fundraiser knows that it's relationship fundraising, and that's not about one day, and perhaps we're at risk of building a relationship with that one day, when really we should be building this long-term ongoing relationship between donor and your cause and your organization specifically. And that's what a good fundraiser does, as opposed to relying on these one-day blips, these one-day flash in the pans. Even the skeptics, they hope, and I would be like this, I hope it makes a difference. And I support it in that I do push a bit out there. I got my charity 1 and 4. We did a little bit on social media about it. Like, I want it to raise the national average, but I'm just not convinced. Well, maybe it is going to, because it does kind of get people to give. But I'm interested in Claire Axelrad's point about that it's kind of moving away from the relationship that we've been working so hard to develop, and starts with this kind of small blip of a donation. Another great fundraiser girl, Rory Green, she said a couple things to me. And what did she say? She said it promises, campaigns like this promise people will give without being asked, that if fundraisers can only make the social media movement big enough, everyone will jump on board and give tons of money without us ever having to ask them for a dime. That's interesting. That's it's another one of those fundraising things where we're trying to avoid fundraising. Here's another promise that it's going to save us all from having to do what we do, and that, you know, we're going to get past this tipping point where people just give because it's Tuesday, or give because it's this day of the month, as opposed to the reality of why people give, which is because we ask them and because we give them a reason to. Another blogger, Joe Garect, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. God, these North American names, amazing. From the Fundraising Authority, and he makes good points about why he hates it. He says your message will get crowded out, and that's true. Did you see how many Giving Tuesday emails and stuff there were today? I mean, like when you drop your direct mail, you kind of go out your way. You don't want it to land on the same day as any other organization's direct mail, and you hate it when it does. And yet, here we are as fundraisers encouraging everyone to make their ask on the same day. Is that a bit... Anyway, so Joe of the Fundraising Authority, he also says social media sucks for fundraising, which I fully agree with. It encourages spot giving, and he says the return on investment sucks because of the amount of work that we put into it just doesn't pay off. Like, I mean, like if you think about members of the public, like are they seeing all this noise on the, you know, they're there, that they see a Giving Tuesday ad and they're motivated to give? I don't believe that, but maybe they do. You know, is there a guy sitting on his computer? Oh my God, it's Giving Tuesday. Hey Charlene, Giving Tuesday. I just don't believe I don't believe that nudges people to give, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, for me, as a charity, in my charity, and for me as a fundraiser, like I think people are as likely to give any day of the week and any day of the year. And I think if you're going out with your ask, you have to ask yourself, is this the biggest emotional draw that I have? Is this the biggest ask that I have? Is if I send out a mail or an email or put it on social media that I want you to donate because it's Tuesday, because it's Giving Tuesday, because it's this brand thing that suppliers have invented, is that the biggest reason for you to give? Or is it the starving child? Is it the victim of, the survivor of sexual abuse? Is it the, you know, is it the usual good ask? Aren't those like a million infinitely times stronger than this Giving Tuesday ask? So, like, is Giving Tuesday an inspiring reason to donate? I don't think so. I think the normal way we fundraise is inspiring if you're doing it well, and that can happen any day. You know, it could have happened today on hashtag Giving Tuesday, or it could have happened any other day. But maybe people are sitting there and seeing this and deciding to do it because it's this global movement, and we have, you know, we as humans, we have that sheep mentality, the herd mentality. You know, when you stand across the road and there's loads of you waiting because it's a red light, and then someone starts to cross the road, and then you all start to cross the road because that person did. Maybe there's an element of that. You know, we know there's all this donor psychology and this social nudging, social influence on how we give. So maybe there's that. I don't know. I think the campaign is it's not for donors or the public. I think it's for fundraisers and charities. I think it gets charities to ask where they normally wouldn't have, where they normally were afraid of. So this gives them like a license to ask. And I think that's why people donate, because you've asked. And I think that's why donations today will be higher than yesterday, because more charities use that license to ask where they normally would have been afraid to. So for me, Giving Tuesday, I call it Asking Tuesday. I think it's a campaign to get fundraisers or not so fundraisers, charities, to ask, as opposed to giving. I don't think it's for the public. I don't think the public pay attention to stuff like this. You know, unless we put loads of money about it. Let me see. Stephen Shattuck, my new bromance from Bloomerang. He's done a blog post today, which is worth reading. I'll link to it as well. And he talks about that. I don't think he's a big fan either. He's not really allowed to say he's not a fan. But on Thursday, he's talking about Thanking Thursday, because it's an alliteration. So the 11th, he's talking about it's more important to thank on Thursday. And actually, I quite like that when people use Giving Tuesday as a reason to thank. But I like his Thanking Thursday idea. So, yeah, I know I'm so cynical, I'm so negative on this stuff, but I think it's like as fundraisers and as charities, we have to be careful with our time and resources and not put too much into this. I think let the suppliers pump money into this, even let other organizations pump money into this, just ride the wave of it, but focus on your proper long-term relationship, emotional fundraising, and you'll benefit from that. I think as a charity, it's like, let them spend money on it. You don't worry about it too much. But I think if you're a supplier, if you're an umbrella body, if you're one of the people who are pushing this, I think the question to ask yourself or ourselves is this the best way for us to spend money? This kind of public campaign competing with like Coca-Cola and Shell Oil and stuff like this, and trying to change, rewire donors and how they donate. Is that the best way for us to spend money? Or what about if as umbrella bodies and these organizations, these suppliers, we put money into training fundraisers, or put it into fundraising campaigns, grants to small charities like mine, like 1 in 4, to allow us to do a decent DM campaign or a decent online campaign, or a TV campaign, or the campaigns that we know work fundamentally. Even like street and door, like can we achieve, let's look at the numbers, can we achieve more by putting that money into door-to-door or telephone than putting it into this public awareness campaign, trying to rewire the public, rewire, or even training fundraisers, because you see in a lot of charities there's fundraisers who just, through no fault of their own, because they don't have trained, they don't understand how DM works, they don't understand some of the basics. And as suppliers, if we could put in money into training and grants into fundraiser training, would that be a lot better? Would this Asking Tuesday thing, if it was tied into grants and tied into training, would that exponentially have a much bigger impact than #GivingTuesday? I don't know. What do you think? I'm open to comments. I'm undecided. It's the first year we've done it in Ireland. I think it's nice. I hope it works. I just feel let's really be critical fundraising and think, is this the best way for us to spend this money? For me, giving and asking is equally valid every day of every week. It doesn't have to be Tuesday. It doesn't have to be December. It's just got to be your strong fundraising plan. And yeah, that's it. So, will I see you next Giving Tuesday? Yeah, I don't know. Thank you very much for listening and watching.